An unprecedented trial is underway involving the mother of a convicted mass murderer in Michigan. Jennifer Crumbley is charged with involuntary manslaughter for allegedly failing to stop her son Ethan from committing a deadly school shooting in 2021. Her husband, James Crumbley, is also charged and both pleaded not guilty. Elaine Quijano was in court for the first day of Jennifer Crumbley's trial.
So it entered here and exited here.
In a Michigan courtroom yesterday, Molly Darnell described coming face to face with the shooter.
I realized he's raising a gun to me.
The Oxford high school teacher said it felt like hot water burned her arm before she realized it was a bullet.
I had texted my husband, "I love you, active shooter."
4 students were killed. Ethan Crumbley was 15 at the time of the shooting. He pleaded guilty and was sentenced to life in prison last month. His parents, James and Jennifer Crumbley, are each charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter.
They did nothing. They didn't do any number of tragically small and easy things that would have prevented all of this from happening.
Prosecutors argued the Crumbleys gave their son a gun and failed to secure it, even as they were aware of his mental health distress, which included warnings from his school about his drawings. Prosecutors showed jurors video of Crumbley at a gun range with the shooter and a message from Crumbley asking her husband, "You get gun?" Meanwhile, her defense sought to shift responsibility to her husband, who's being tried separately next month. The defense revealed Crumbley herself will take the stand, while it's unclear if her son will also testify.
He did something she could have never anticipated or predicted.
I'm Elaine Quijano in Pontiac, Michigan.
CBS News legal contributor Rebecca Roiphe joins us now for more on this case. So, Rebecca, it's good to see you. Can you explain how his parents can be charged in a crime that their son committed? I think that's what people are wondering.
Yes, I mean, this is an involuntary manslaughter case, which means essentially the prosecutor's theory is that the parents' extreme negligence, criminal negligence, actually caused the death of these victims, so that by providing him with the gun, giving him access to the gun, and ignoring these mental health red flags, the parents were criminally negligent, and that's what caused the death of these, the tragic death of these victims.
We've certainly seen cases like murders where somebody might be charged with like accessory to murder. Like maybe they were in the getaway car, but they say they didn't know that a murder was going to happen, but everyone gets charged with murder at the same time. So I see sort of how an argument like that could work, but what specifically do prosecutors need to prove here?
I think what makes this case difficult is that normally in an involuntary manslaughter case, you have some kind of action on the part of the defendant. So think about a typical case in which somebody is texting while they're driving. Of course, they didn't intend to kill anybody, but their actions texting caused that death. Sometimes somebody can be criminally liable for failing to act. So, for instance, if a nurse ignores an obviously vulnerable patient, then that nurse might be liable. So here, on that latter theory, the idea is that this failure to act, there was a duty to act under these circumstances, and the failure to comply with that duty was itself criminal. And so it's that theory, but it's a bit of a stretch, or let's just say a novel application of the law.
So Jennifer Crumbley's lawyer said that she will testify in her own defense later in the trial. Her son may also testify in her case. What is the strategy?
For the defense.
For the defense, right. What's the strategy there?
Right. So, I mean, the strategy for Jennifer Crumbley is twofold. First, they want to claim that she did not know of any of this. It came as a shock to her, an upsetting shock that her son engaged in these actions. And second of all, she wants to claim that she that it wasn't her to the extent that there was any negligence, it was her husband's negligence. And so for that, I think it is normally defendants don't testify, but in a case like this, it seems important for her to do so, and helpful if she testifies well. Of course, that there's a question as to how helpful she'll be in her own defense. She would like to have her son testify and has actually asked the appellate court to compel him to do so. But given the fact that his case is still pending, he has a Fifth Amendment claim that his lawyers are strongly invoking to avoid that eventuality.
Are you surprised that Ethan's parents are being tried separately? You would think that if they were sort of tried together, they could both reinforce each other's claims, that it would have been impossible to know, what Ethan was thinking. But instead, they're kind of up against each other.
Right. I mean, this is how things play out in criminal cases, because there's an obvious conflict between these two parents in this situation. If one parent is going to blame the other parent, then in certain circumstances, one cannot have a joint trial. They might have made a different decision to sort of create a unified defense, but that must have fallen through at some point, with Jennifer Crumbley hoping that putting the blame on her husband will at least help create some reasonable doubt in her own case.
I said that I don't know the details of this case, but we were talking earlier, and as a parent, I think to myself, well, there's a lot of things that you just don't know about teenagers.
Right.
That, you try, but they can be really sort of crafty. And then on the other side, you think, but why would you give a teenager a gun like this?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
All right. Rebecca, thank you.